So this question is for the both of you. How did you get involved with ultrasound?
Mandy Sherman is the casting director of Ultrasound, and I've auditioned for her a lot throughout the years and like worked around her, and she recommended me for the role. So I'm grateful to her that this kind of came together because of her. Yeah.
And then for me, I was sent the script and the sides and read it and tried to understand what was happening and then put myself on tape and then found out a couple weeks later that I booked it. Was so excited and reread it a couple more times to try to get a more full understanding of what was taking place. And then and Chelsea and I have been friends for about 10 years, so we ended up having a conversation where Chelsea called me super excited that she booked this great movie, and I was asking her about it, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm in that too. So that was just a sweet little surprise, the cherry on top.
Yes.
Yeah, and this was a great mind-bending psychological thriller as well. So what kind of stood out to your characters when you were reading the script?
I just love Cindy's brokenness and like this failed marriage type vibe. And like, I love that she's like genuinely trying. And I loved like the journey that she goes on with Glenn Vincent's character. I loved like the kind of thematic themes of complex manipulation and like, and the forces that she's up against. And I think my favorite part of my character's journey is like realizing the truth. That was like something I was kind of, I didn't know how it was going to come out, like in the character way. But yeah, that was what attracted me. And also just the graphic novels are rad. And I was so intrigued by Connor's artistry that it was kind of a no-brainer. Yeah.
And for me, I think that like something I found really interesting was like the sense that I think, especially as a woman, sometimes you can tell when something's wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on it, but you just kind of have this unsettled feeling in your gut and kind of like searching for a reason and not really being able to understand what's wrong until after the fact. And then looking back on the situation, you're like, oh my gosh, that's why I felt like so sick that whole time. Or like once like finding out ultimately like the reason for your like unnameable anxiety. And I think there's like a sense of desperation and confusion that I think was just so kind of relatable and like sad about my character.
Right. And while watching this, there are a lot of female characters, but none of them seem to be the typical damsel in distress kind of character. Did that also draw you to ultrasound as well?
For sure. I love their strength. It's like in my character has a lot of guts and strength, and also Brida's character. I loved like just how she portrayed that and how strong she ends up being. Yeah, definitely. It's nice to have women represented properly, like not having to be the damsel in distress, but also like having a sense of strength and power in the narrative. Yeah.
Yeah, ditto.
Right. And also, we touched about this earlier, but it was a psychological thriller. It was really tense. Did that come on set as well when you guys were getting into character? How was that transition like when you were on set in character?
Hmm. I think the music really adds to it, like the tense elements of it. I think it was a very collaborative effort on set. And so there was a love there present in like the love of making film, the love of, that kind of thing. But yeah, there were moments that felt eerie, I'd say. Like, I don't want to give things away, but like sitting in the hotel room with Glenn, that was like the first day we shot that. And just the way it was lit by Matt Rudenberg, the DP, and like the lighting really added to this kind of tense eeriness that helped fuel being in character for sure.
And for me, I was on the very tail end of the shooting schedule, and I was only on set for like 2 days. So um, but I like Chelsea was saying, I think there's so many elements that kind of add to the final edited movie that we all see, and like the way that it's pieced together, and the sound and the coloring and everything kind of really shapes it in a way that it doesn't necessarily feel when you're shooting it on set. Like I think there's like in some scenes, my scenes are like not as heavy as Chelsea's, so I think there's more of a kind of like looming sense of tension, which I think when you're like just there's certain scenes you're shooting, you have a little bit of that feeling, but it's not. It's just it doesn't. For this project, for my scenes, it's definitely not like the same intensity as when all the elements come together.
Yeah.
Right. And have both of you had a chance to watch the final product of the film? And if so, what were your reactions to it when you were watching it?
Yeah, I waited to it premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival like 6 months ago or whenever that was. So I had the opportunity to watch a link that I could have just like watched on my laptop, but I waited an extra week to see it on the big screen at Tribeca. So that was super fun. It was such a good experience for me. I got to bring my sister, so me and Chelsea and my sis and Chelsea's mom just sat outside at the film festival and watched it. And it was the first time I'd seen it was like that, so it definitely was special.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. It was like outside, there's like birds flying. It was Tribeca did a good job.
Yeah, it was freezing cold though, but besides that, it was good.
So cold, you were eating
So cold.
quesadilla.
I posted myself a quesadilla and watched it outside.
I love that. Yeah, I've seen it a few times. I've seen it like I saw it before Tribeca because I did want to watch it just to like get a sense of it before entering Tribeca. I watched the link, and then I watched it at Tribeca, and then I also went to Mammoth Lake Film Festival and watched it there. So I've seen it a few times, and each time it's different when I watch it. I notice different things or different shots and kind of different parts, but I'm really happy to be a part of Rob and Connor's creation and the whole team, you know.
Well, thank you too so much for joining me on Infamous Horrors and Infamous Interviews today. It's been really fun, and congratulations on Ultrasound.
Thank you, Adrian.